Bluegrass music has roots in western North Carolina. This region is known for its outstanding pickers and singers, and is home to a number of well-known artists. For generations, parents have handed down music to their children, and they in turn have shared it with their children. In this way, bluegrass music has been preserved for many years. The earliest settlers in western North Carolina were Scots-Irish. Many of the settlers brought with them vocal and instrumental traditions. From Scotland and Ireland came the fiddle and many Celtic melodies. They played these fiddle tunes at all-night dances. It was considered improper for a woman to play an instrument, therefore many preferred to sing. Most ballads originated in the British Isles. A woman would sing the ballads that had been passed down to her by her mother. The songs usually reflected on farm or work life and are sometimes called mountain music or country music. The music helped them to endure the hardships that they faced. Ballad singing had a strong influence on bluegrass music. Since many ballads were somber and nasally sounding, they became known as the high lonesome sound of bluegrass. Bluegrass gospel music incorporates the spirited style of bluegrass with uplifting lyrics about our Savior. The banjo was brought into America by African American slaves. It is based on one of the instruments that they played in Africa. The slaves enjoyed group singing and contributed a distinct sound. They sang with a looser voice that produced lower and more relaxed sounds. The old-time string band consisted of fiddle, banjo, and guitar. This music was played at square dances. Today, good harmony singing is very important in bluegrass bands. Typical bands include a fiddle, guitar, banjo, mandolin, bass fiddle, and sometimes a dobro. Bluegrass music remains very popular, and many young people have started playing instruments and forming groups of their own. There is a strong tradition of family bands as well.
Arthur Lane Watson was born on March 3, 1923 in Stony Fork, North Carolina. When Arthur was young, he became blind from an eye infection. At about age 6, he received the harmonica, and when he was 11, his father made him a banjo. Arthur quit school in the 7th grade and began working with his father. His father helped him a lot with his blindness by teaching him to work and carry his own weight. When his father heard him playing chords on a bar guitar, he told Arthur he would buy him a guitar if he could teach himself a song by the time he returned home. Arthur learned a song and became the proud owner of a new Stella guitar. Years later, he played for tips in Lenore, North Carolina to pay for another guitar. One day, as he was getting ready to play for a show, the announcer asked the audience for suggested nicknames. One lady yelled, "Doc!" and the name stuck with him for the rest of his life. In 1947, Doc married Rosalie Carlton. In 1950, their son Eddie Merle Watson was born. In 1953, Doc started playing with a dance band. Since the band didn't play with a fiddle much, Doc learned the fiddle part on the guitar, which became known as flat picking. Merle joined his father's band in 1965 as lead guitarist. They won Grammy Awards in 1974 and 1978. Merle died in 1985 in a tragic tractor accident. Doc started Merle Fest at Wilkes Community College in 1988 in honor of his son. Doc won a Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award. He influenced many generations of guitar players. Doc died May 29, 2012. I will now demonstrate the flat picking technique on one of Doc's famous songs called Black Mountain Wreck. Earl Eugene Scruggs was born in Shelby, North Carolina on January 6, 1924. Scruggs started playing banjo at age 10 and played at dances in his teens. In December 1945, Scruggs joined Bill Monroe and the Bluegrass Boys. In January of 1948, Earl and Lester Flatt started their own band called Lester Flatt, Earl Scruggs and the Foggy Mountain Boys. On April 18, 1948, Earl Scruggs married Louise Certain and had 3 sons. In 1953, Martha White Mills became the sponsor of Flatt and Scruggs on their WSM radio show. Earl popularized the three-finger banjo picking style and has been a great influence on many people. Earl died on March 28, 2012. Today in Shelby, North Carolina, you can tour the Earl Scruggs Center, which is located in Shelby's historic courthouse. The Earl Scruggs Center is located near the Flint Hill community where Earl grew up. The center chronicles the life of Earl and shows how he popularized the three-finger picking style, recognized around the world as Scruggs style. I will now do a demonstration of the three-finger picking style on one of Earl's famous songs called Foggy Mountain Breakdown.
Hi, my name is Nick Hancock. I played in a bluegrass band called the Bluegrass Gentlemen from August 1968 through the summer of 1976.
Hi, Mr. Hancock. Why did you become interested in bluegrass music?
I got introduced to bluegrass music through a high school buddy of mine who kind of forced me to listen to the music of Bill Monroe and Flatt and Scruggs and Ralph Stanley.
Okay, where did you play when you did your bluegrass music?
Well, as a band, we started out like most bands in North Carolina do, playing fiddlers conventions throughout the state.
What were some of the highlights?
Well, after the fiddlers conventions, we also played some of the music houses or music barns in the state. And I want to mention that at one time there were something like 40 fiddlers conventions throughout North Carolina. But some of the highlights was playing the festivals. We got actually hired to play festivals like Camp Springs, North Carolina, Livonia, Georgia, and Angier, North Carolina. But our biggest highlight was when we got to play in July of 1972 at the Grand Ole Opry in Nashville. We got invited to do that, and that was probably our biggest highlight as a band.
How was that experience?
Well, it was really a great experience. We spent 2 days in Nashville, and we met a lot of the Grand Ole Opry stars while there, and they treated us just like we were one of them. It was amazing how friendly they really are to you people.
Okay, well thank you, Mr. Hancock, for taking time out of your day to be interviewed.
My pleasure.